You know, when I watch Larry Fitzgerald, I can't help but just count my blessings that I've had the chance to watch this guy from day one. When you think about it, we've been blessed with a lot of great athletes here in the Valley. Steve Nash, Kurt Warner, Gonzo, and how could we forget Charles Barkley? Sir Charles, the former NBA MVP, takes us on a ride down memory lane. And we go way back to that 1993 season. Here's Charles Barkley, vintage Charles Barkley. As we all know, Charles tells it like it is. Enjoy.
All right, what do you think about this basketball team right now?
You look at it on paper, it's really good. I think I'm really excited for the chance to play with KJ and Dan Marley.
It was amazing. When I got Dan Marley and Kevin Johnson, I thought I was in heaven. Because when I first came to Phoenix, I was sitting around with Cotton. I said, Cotton, this is what's going to happen. I said, we're going to win the West, and we're going to play the Bulls in the finals. And he says, how do you know that? I said, because I think I'm the best player in the world. I just haven't had any help. And I said, we're going to play the Bulls for the championship, and I'm going to get an opportunity to play against Michael, and I can't wait. I says, giving me Kevin Johnson and Dan Marley, I'm good. I says, nobody in the West can beat us. So I knew we were going to get to the finals. And I tell you, Philadelphia's a great sports city, but I've never felt the loudness, the energy from probably day one in America West, as it was called back then. I mean, man, the fans here were crazy. It was electric every night. Well, I don't think I can have one favorite memory. I mean, that's just crazy. I go back. You know what's so interesting? People forget. I would say if I had to pick one, we were really down after game one and game two against the Lakers. And we were in the locker room, and everybody kind of had their head down. And I remember the press coming in, running right to my locker, because obviously that's the way it works. And they said, did you hear what Paul Westphal said? And I said, no. What did he say? He says,
we're going to win the series. We're going to win one Tuesday, and the next game's Thursday. We'll win there. Then we'll come back and we'll win the series on Sunday. And everybody will say what a great series it was.
And I remember looking up. I says, oh, Coach said that? I said, well, we got his back. That's the way it's going to be. That was an amazing series. Because obviously having the best record in the NBA that year, you guys would have called us the biggest choke artists of all time. We had a loss in the first round of the playoffs. And then I think the next series we played the Spurs. Paul said, where you want the ball? I says, well, they're probably going to put a big guy on me. So I wanted the top of the key. So that makes it a lot difficult for double teams. That's where a lot of guys who want to go one-on-one, if you get it on the wing, it's a lot easier to double on the right wing or the left wing. But if you get the top of the key, it really puts the defense in a really awkward situation where they're going to double from. And I told the guys, I'm going to take the shot with 3 or 4 seconds to go. So there's always that stupid rule. For guys who don't know anything about basketball, tell me, you want the ball to be in the air at the buzzer, which is the stupidest ever. Because what happens if you try to go down to the last second? You can't count that fast the way a clock actually counts. I said, dude, we can't stop somebody for 3 or 4 seconds. We're not going to win anyway. So I said, I'm going to take my time. It's going to be less than 5, but I want to shoot my – David's going to keep backing up because he don't want me to get to the basket. And I just got right to the free throw line. But that was my mentality. I want to get the shot with 2 or 3 seconds or 4 at the most to go. But I tell guys, man, the clock is moving so fast when you get down to those last 1 or 2 seconds. You can't compute that in your brain fast enough to try to let me get this off with because the buzzer's gonna always go off with the ball in your hands. So Paul gave me the ball, but he trusted me. And then obviously and then the series against the Supersonics was amazing. If you go back to Game 5, I had a triple-double, which actually set me up for Game 7. So I had a triple-double in Game 5. So George had made up his mind that they were not gonna double me every time in Game 7. But the Game 7 really started on the plane back from Seattle. So obviously everybody was down. It's very quiet. So I pulled Frank Johnson, who's kind of like my sounding board, on the team. I said, Frank, come back here, let's talk. And he said, I said, Frank, how can I get this team energy up and get everybody ready to go for Game 7? And Frank says, oh, I'm not worried about Game 7. I'm worried about you. I said, what do you mean? He says, Charles, this team going to follow you. You got to play the best game you ever played. You never been to the finals. It's the best team you probably ever been on. If you play, we will follow. And I said, really? He says, Chuck, it's going to be that. It's been that way all season. It's going to be that way in Game 7. He said, if you lead us, we will follow you.
They're the Western Conference champions, and they move on to play the defending world champion Chicago Bulls.
The only thing I regret about that series is Game 1, and I take full responsibility for that. I did not have us, normally when I was playing games at home, I would let other guys, I would try to pump up the other guys and let them get going, because obviously role players play a lot better at home than they do on the road. So in Game 1, I had been in big games and bright lights before, and I was so passive in Game 1, and I should have been really, really aggressive, and because that's the only bad game we played, if you go back and look. But I regret that I wasn't really aggressive in Game 1. That's the only bad game we played. Every other game was a 1 or 2 point game if you go back and look at the series. So my only regret about that series is not being Game 7 being like, hey, screw this. I'm not waiting on you guys. Y'all better follow me. So I have to blame myself for Game 1 in the finals, for us being passive and me not being aggressive.
Here's Paxson for three. Yes! The Bulls take a 1-point lead, and Phoenix calls for time.
I've seen the shot. The only regret is I wish we had gave up a 2 instead of a 3, because it was only 2 guys on the court going to shoot, Michael and Paxson. Because Scotty had a layup, basically, and Grant had a layup, and we still would have been tied and had the ball. So that's the only thing I regret, that we left the 3-point shooter over instead of the 2 points, because we still would have been tied and had the ball with, I think, 6 or 7 seconds to go.
I don't think anybody had any inclination that they says 300,000 people.
It was just they just surrounded my car and we couldn't move. And I remember just looking out. They took me up to Jerry's office, and I just watched humanity. But man, like I say, the fans in Phoenix have always treated me great. One of the reasons I love living here, I'm never leaving here. But it was just an awesome time.
I just can't help but wonder what would have happened if they would have forced that Game 7 and played the Bulls with 1 game for all the marbles. Bam, that would have been neat. But boy, I could listen to Barkley talk all day long. We're just getting started, sports fans. We check in with Sierra Santos. Santos sits down with a local athlete that has been thrown a major curveball thanks to COVID-19. That's coming up after the break.